Hey, this is Coach Bill coming to you with a mindful moment for today. And the topic I want to discuss is holding space. And it truly is an art form. So really, it's the art of holding space. It takes practice. So let's talk about a little bit about what that is. And to hold space for someone is something that we all should be better at or good at. And you don't have to be a counselor or a coach or a therapist to hold space. Work with the people we encounter, our friends, even the people we don't really know that well. To be able to hold space for someone could be one of the greatest gifts we can offer. And at this time, it's something that can truly help change someone's life. So, to talk about what it is and how we can practice holding space, I want to talk about a little bit of an example about what holding space can do. So, when you think of someone who is suffering, somebody who's dealing with some drama or trauma or stuff in their life, and we look at that person as an individual, maybe it helps to think of them like this. Maybe they're like a vessel, like a glass of water, a glass of fresh water. And that suffering, that trauma, that thing that's going on, it's like 2 tablespoons of salt. And you mix that up in there. And if you tasted that water, it would be very salty. But when we hold space for someone, it's almost like we're creating a bigger vessel. Instead of being a glass of water, if you're holding space for someone, maybe that's more like a pond or a lake of water. And the event, the trauma, the stuff that's going on is the same size. So it's the same 2 tablespoons of water, of salt. But if you put 2 tablespoons of salt in a large body of water, it wouldn't change it much. It spreads it out. It allows more space. So this is what we're doing when we're holding space. We're creating a bigger vessel. We're opening ourselves up. We're aligning our energy. And if we're in a healthy, positive space, it helps shift that energy that person that's in the negative space is. So they might be here and we might be here, and it brings them down a bit. Not all the way, because the stuff is still there, but it is giving us this opportunity to be there for them, to hold space for them. And to truly do that, we have to practice a few things. We have to recognize and be aware of the fact that a lot of times we come out of this space instead of this space. We let our ego take hold and we think we have to have all the answers for that person. We have to offer advice or put in words of wisdom. So many times that's not necessary, it's not needed, and it's not wanted. So don't do it. Wait, be, create some space, come from your heart. The most difficult thing for most of us is to truly listen deeply, and not with the intention to respond, and not with the thought that we have to have an answer. For someone to truly overcome, to transform themselves from a place of suffering to a place of peace, it has to come from within. So there are times when we can offer advice if it's warranted, if it's asked for. And there are times we should simply be there to wrap them in our energy, to hold them in our space. So the first step to truly holding space for someone is for us to quiet that overthinking ego mind and allow ourselves, again, to be like that lake, but let that lake be like still water. Let yourself just settle down. And if you think of it like that, anytime we put our opinion or words into it, it disturbs the surface and it's not so reflective. But if we allow that space to be calm and peaceful, it's like a still water. And if you look at still water, it reflects everything around it, but it also becomes clear and you can see all the way to the bottom. And isn't that a better place to be than to put your own turmoil, your own opinions, your own stuff on top of what's already going on for somebody else? So we need to reserve our judgment to not be in that space of being right. We don't have to be right. We just have to be. So we need to clear our space, our own space, so that we can be there for this person. It takes practice. But when we allow that to happen in that space as that suffering expands, and I'm not saying we take it on, but we sit there with empathy, with kindness, with love, and listen and be there for them. In addition to quieting the mind, we need to quiet our voice. We don't have to always say anything. We tend to be addicted to having to have noise to fill the space with words. We don't have to say anything. A lot of times, just imagine being there for someone who says something, who talks about what their struggles are, or who just needs to cry, and just be there. Hold them, hold their hand, hold them in an embrace, or just sit across from them and offer your energy. Just being together in silence can be one of the most healing things if the person recognizes that you are there for them. That's enough. Sometimes that's more than enough. But that's where the practice comes in. Not having to have the answers, not having to offer solutions, not putting your opinion into the mess that's already there, but just putting your heart into it and being there with compassion, with love, with understanding. That's what holding space is. And when you do it, you become this vessel of love. And it helps soften the pain. It helps take away that bitterness. And it builds a deeper connection. Holding space means we are there for this person as another being. So, take from that what you will, but practice it. Try it. Do with it what you will. But that's my message for the day. And it is very useful in these times of trouble, when people are suffering, when people are stressed. Just be there. Come together. Hold space. And let's create this giant vessel of love. I'm Coach Bill. Have a beautiful day.